Did you know Celeste has a thing called coyote time? It lets Madeline jump after she runs off a cliff. For just a second though, it's not that long. But why call it coyote time, right? I was wondering that too, and then I found out it's a reference to an old cartoon character. Good name. Or did you know about anti-head smashing? There's even a similar deal when you miss your dash by a few pixels. That one saved me a few times. Okay, what I'm getting at is if you pay close attention to Celeste or to Matt Thorson's Twitter page, you probably know about these tricks that make the game easier. And as you might have guessed from this video's title, there is another trick that also makes Celeste easier. But it's not as obvious as that other stuff, so I'm calling it a hidden tutorial. What else are you hiding from us, Matthew? And no, it's not how you learn through trial and error. It's not how Celeste hands you a jellyfish and expects you to have a good time. Those are just the normal ways the game teaches you. Everyone knows about them. Still, how could a hidden tutorial be helpful if you don't even know about it? Well, it's the same way coyote time works. There's a good chance you played Celeste and never noticed that, but it definitely helps out. And it's the same for this hidden tutorial. Okay, let's take a look at how this works. Did you catch that? Yeah, I wouldn't either. Let me explain. Each level in Celeste has several special objects, like the feather, and those rhythm tiles, and conveyor belts. And of course, you need to learn how to use them at some point, or you won't make it very far. Anyway, by the time you beat level 1, you'll know how the zipper works. And I hope you don't care about the zippers because this is probably the last time you'll see them again. You can find more on the B and C sides, and the summit, but other than that, they're gone. And then in level 2, you need to learn how to work with completely new objects. And that's just about how every level works. What's going on here? You spent all that time learning how to use the zipper for what exactly? Is it pointless now? Well, no. See this platform? Here's another one. Look familiar? I mean, they even both move on tracks, but that's not important. What's important is how they both launch Madeline the same way. Just watch a second to see what I mean. Indistinguishable. But this block only moves when Madeline dashes. So that thing you've been doing the whole game can now kill Madeline if you're not careful. So when you learned how to use the zippers all the way back in level 1, that actually comes in handy because the dash blocks in level 5 work the same way, except for the dashing part. Just imagine how much harder they'd be if there was no zipper. Then you'd have to learn how this block works from the ground up. But instead of figuring out all of this at once, you already have a good idea how it works. And that's the basic idea behind this hidden tutorial. You learn how an object behaves, and knowing that carries over to a new object down the line. It's not a very straight line, but there's a solid connection. And thanks to this, using new objects is easier. Whether that's because you already know how momentum works with the dash blocks, or smaller things, like how learning to position Madeline on these bumpers is sort of helpful with these pufferfish. Those aren't the most interesting though, so since you probably get the idea, I'm gonna throw out a crazy example to spice things up. Okay, hear me out. Madeline from level 2 makes the Wormwood in level 3 easier. You still with me? They aren't completely different, trust me. You see, Madeline copies your movements, and Wormwood doesn't let you stand in the same place twice. And if you touch either of them, you explode. It might not seem like they have much in common, but they both share a key idea. Normally, you can go just about wherever you want to, and there's not much that stops you. But these two, they make going back the way you came from dangerous. Madeline introduces the idea. She follows you around and copies your every move. So when you want to retrace your steps, just to snatch that one juicy strawberry you missed, Madeline's trailing right behind you. You turn left, she turns left. You jump off a building by mistake, she jumps off a building intentionally. You turn around like always, and that reflex could kill you because now you might bump into her, and like I was saying, explode. Explode. I'd say that makes walking back a bit risky. And then there's Wormwood. Wormwood pushes what you learned from Madeline to the extreme. When you first touch it, you're safe, like forever and ever. But the second you walk away, it turns into toxic sludge. Now you can't retrace your steps ever again. Until you explode, of course. See what I'm saying? They're different, but Madeline has a connection that makes Wormwood easier to use. Well, if you're not sure about that part, what about sprints and clouds? You can find sprints just about everywhere, and then in level 4, a wild trampoline cloud appears. What now? That cloud looks angry. Go, Madeline. Ugh. Do a dash attack. Madeline already knows sprint bounce. That should work. Nice. Yeah, so basically learning how the sprints work helps you understand the clouds. If you never had any practice with the sprints, the clouds would be a little bit harder to use at first. I know this might seem out there. Couldn't this be a coincidence? Maybe the objects just seem like they're connected? I mean, maybe, but nah. This has to be intentional. Why would they be put here randomly? If that was the case, there could have been a golden feather in the first level and fireballs in level 2. Technically, that could have happened, but it didn't. Everything here is actually put together in the ways you'd expect. Things start off easy enough with something like the green bubble, and then get harder, like with the red bubble. So, all the objects that teach you a thing or two show up in a clean, logical order. They all build on top of the last one, and none of them are out of place. But I mean, not all of them. There are plenty of objects that just don't belong in this hidden tutorial. What's the deal with killer snowballs? Other than killing you, nothing. And dream blocks, they aren't connected to anything. Maybe if we pretend for a second, they could be kinda similar to the red bubble. They both send Madeline in a fixed line, and they have smooth edges. But other than that, they're completely different. So when you learn how some of these things work, not all of them teach you how to use another object. Also, there's several things that get reused. Crumbling platforms, falling blocks, extra dashes, the basic stuff. So yeah, several of Celeste's objects don't have a connection. Although, I haven't even mentioned the most interesting objects that do. So what are they? Well, to start, in level 4, we have this strange block. They're strange because they're really fun to use. Who doesn't love controlling blocks in the air and solving puzzles at the same time with your head? Literally. Up, down, left, right. Then, in level 5, there's the dash block, which are basically harder versions of the zipper. And next, this guy. This is Kevin. No, he is not a blockhead. He has feelings. Look at his face. Emotions. Now, Kevin doesn't seem like he has much to do with the dash block. They both move fast, you need to jump off at the right time, and dashing is important. That's about it. But since you can control Kevin's direction, the dash blocks only explain half the story. And that's why I brought up those guided platforms. They explain the rest. That's where you get your first taste of controlling a block after all. They're not exactly the same as Kevin, they're way slower and easier to control. But that's what you'd expect from this hidden tutorial. You learn how those blocks work, and then 2 levels later, there's something that's kind of similar and it's harder to use. So when you take a dash platform, mix it with a guided block, and set the heat up way too high, out comes a Kevin. It's a tricky block to work with, but instead of Celeste just tossing you this bizarre new object that you have no idea what to do with, you actually do have an idea how it works. Because, in a way, level 1, 4, and 5 taught you about Kevin. Alright, I'm glad you made it this far. As a reward, I've saved the best for last. Now, I'm sure everyone's noticed how the red bubble is a more complicated version of the green bubble, yeah? In case you missed it, the green bubble launches Madeline in the air, sort of like an extra dash. And then right after that, the red bubble shows up. It's basically just another green bubble, except it can do this. And while Madeline hurls through the air to her likely death, she can dash out of the bubble. It's way more open and freeing than the green one, but it's still limited. So, of course, in the level after the red bubble, Madeline finds the feather. And yes, the bubbles and the feather are directly connected. The feather is, of course, the ultimate form of the bubble. It doesn't hold back and gives Madeline
maximum freedom. No ban, no restraints, full analog control.
The feather, just like Kevin, are tough to work with. They're very open-ended, so there's lots of ways to mess up. And if you do, there's pointy spikes ready to say hi. But thanks to a very subtle tutorial, gradually building up your skills, these things shouldn't be too hard. You can do this. It's easier than it seems, even if you're not sure how.